Before this special 20th episode of Talking Indie Books begins, I'd like to introduce to you the literary graphic novel series, The Tales of Orlin, from Jetson Brothers Studios. The Tales of Orlin is a fantasy series written and illustrated by its author, Jaron Jetson, who seamlessly combines his love for history and fantasy into a unique blend in his books, bringing to life a world unlike any other, with unique races and creatures and lovable characters in a story that is guaranteed to capture your hearts and imaginations. He's just released the second book in the series, The Mercenary and the Crystal Eye, which is over 400 pages long, all fully illustrated too. He has worked very hard on these books and would love to share his creations with all of you, so be sure to pick up The Tales of Orlin and give it a read. Reading and reviewing indie books has become a passion of mine over many years and has helped me get through the many challenges that life can present. To me, there is nothing better than the escapism, the immersion, and even the magic that reading can be. As an indie author myself, I know the challenges and difficulties of finding book reviews, and so just like my dedication to writing, here I am doing my best to support words by fellow authors. Welcome to Talking Indie Books with Lee Hall, an opportunity for me to showcase some wonderful indie books I've been reading. In fact, welcome to episode 20 of Talking Indie Books. I must thank you all for watching this series, which started as an idea to try and do my best to showcase fellow indies, because getting a book out there and in front of readers as an indie author is really hard, and reading is something I very much enjoy. So naturally, the two merged, and here we are. Since 2018, I have been actively reviewing indie books, and eventually it found its way to video. To celebrate reaching that 20-episode milestone, this edition of Talking Indie Books will cover 3 different books that I've read and reviewed over the years, and I guess timing is on my side, because it's moving towards my favourite time of year. There's a slight chill in the air, and the leaves are turning, while the evenings are gradually receding. Yes, I'm talking about spooky season. So the indie titles in this episode are all books perfect for celebrating spooky season. As an indie author of horror, thriller, paranormal, and science fiction, I'm very much at home when it comes to reading literature that is perfect for spooky season, and that umbrella is rather broad, and so the first title falls into the genre of urban exploration horror. Of course, I'm talking about Building 51 by Jennifer L. Place, and I read this book all the way back in 2019. It was memorable for a number of reasons, and in particular, its cinematic style, which brought the words to life for me in a way that reminded me of a found footage film. Grave Encounters comes to mind here, as the premise for Building 51 is similar to it, in some senses. We meet a group of 7 friends who embark on an urban exploration excursion to a local abandoned institute. In fact, the setting of this story is a real place, known as the Hudson River State Hospital for the Insane. The real setting alongside cinematic writing style really drew me in, and as pages turned, the level of creepiness increased as the group explored the place. And so, to quote my written review, fusing elements of real history and the paranormal make this story and the characters in it feel like something is lurking and watching them. Something is, and this gradually becomes apparent, manifesting itself in a range of unique and creepy ways. The overall flow of the book is cinematic, and even nods to the horror movie rules, some of which the characters unfortunately fall into. Many horror stories tend to run out of ideas near the end, but not in Building 51, where the strong premise stands all the way to the end. My rating for Building 51 was 5 stars, and you can find my full written review linked below. Next up, we have a title that falls under several genres that are perfect for spooky season, and to me it really stood out as a psychological horror. And I'm talking about Don't Lose Your Head by Dave Williams, which I read and reviewed back in 2021. What I remember the most about this reading experience was how quickly I got through it, because it was a real page-turner. And Don't Lose Your Head is centered around a chauffeur known as Alan, who is also an opportunist thief. Knowing your client won't be home after dropping them off at the airport is a surefire way to take such opportunity of an empty house. The story asks the ultimate question of what if within that scenario, which doesn't exactly go to plan for Alan, because what if there was something unexpected in that house? What if that house wasn't actually empty? There's a depth within Dave Williams' writing that really delivers a powerful tale that combines so many different themes here, and even symbolism that makes for a good play on the title. And so, to quote my written review, what's real and what isn't blends into one throughout, as author Dave Williams delivers these atmospheric visuals with a writing style that keeps you reading. Are we supposed to sympathise with Alan? Or are his actions condemnable? Questions and the conflicts presented like this heightens the already heavily psychological element that's at play here. With some cool references and even some inspiration from an art exhibition the author once visited, this book makes for a twisted, haunting, and enjoyable read that dives deep into the shadowy depths of one man's mind. My rating for Don't Lose Your Head was 5 stars, and you can find my written review linked below. And so, the final title in this special spooky season episode falls under the genre of young adult horror. I read this one back in 2023, and I'm talking about The Insatiable Hunger of Trees by Samantha Eaton. This book was memorable for me because of the atmosphere, slow burn, and sophistication it had. While most young adult tales take the teenage angst route, this one felt a little more grounded and follows Kara, whose sister returns home after disappearing for a year. Where she was, or what actually happened, is a mystery. And then Kara discovers a body, and an eviscerated one at that. It turns out that body is found in the same place the sister went missing, and so the beginnings of a mystery unfold, which in turn becomes a creature feature. The sense of something mysterious lurking and stalking Kara is delivered well here, through atmosphere and some great writing. And so to quote my written review, "From the start, readers are fed an atmosphere which is this book's ultimate strength, and captures the forest setting, theme, and personality of every major character. Something is out there, and it has taken lives, and even loved ones, so when a missing, presumed dead sibling returns for Kara, it sets her on a path of realization that a sinister presence is watching." My rating for The Insatiable Hunger of Trees was 5 stars, and you can find my written review linked below. Well, that wraps up this special episode of Talking Indie Books with Lee Hall. Indie authors are very much like small businesses and rely on the kind support of others to find more readers, so any support you can give an indie author will be very much appreciated. And talking of support, if you'd like to see video content like this before anyone else, then be sure to check out my Patreon, which is stacked with content for authors and readers. I'd like to thank you for joining me on this journey, and of course, if you're reading something right now, remember to leave a review. Peace out, rock and roll, and reading indie books.